We are talking leading up to the 2012 NAB show, and we're discussing the great content shift. And right now, we're talking with Jim Roberts and Ryan Burgoyne of Commotion, and we're talking about the great content shift across the radio industry right now, because they are definitely one of the ones that have been affected, and they've been growing with the times, so to speak. So, guys, as far as Commotion's concerned, and I'm anxious to get your opinion. Jim, you and I, we talked about this a little bit before, and so I'll start with you. What shifts in the marketplace really led to Broadcasting Electronics purchasing Commotion at this point?
Well, we like to pay real close attention to what our customers are struggling with and the trends in the radio industry and the threats in the radio industry as well, because at Broadcast Electronics, all our eggs are in the radio basket. There are a lot of our competitors that are into TV and different other mediums, but we're focused all on radio. So radio success is real important to us. So we were listening to our customers and going to different events and really looking and keeping an ear to what's going on with radio. And there were two things that stations were all talking about. Number one, what about things like Pandora and Spotify and these other sources that are really attracting listeners' attention to discover new music and share music? That was one. The other one was, how do we handle social media? Our stations are automated sometimes. There's a lot going on social media. How do we just manage it and keep it all under control? So we really wanted to help address these issues, and through one of our products, we were already working with this company called Local Media, and they had a really great DJ wall for managing social media, and we talked more with them, and they were really on target with a lot of the same things we were thinking about. So we ended up acquiring them and forming this new company, and hopefully from that's going to be a lot of new and great products just to manage those type of issues for radio.
Now, Ryan, I'm anxious to get your thoughts on this, because the one thing he pointed out perfectly is we've seen the shift in radio, with things like Pandora and Spotify in particular. Talk about how important it is for the radio industry to make moves like this in particular to really keep up with the times and continue to grow and continue to thrive.
Yeah, I mean, it's critical. That's one of the things that we learned pretty early on when we were with Local Media. Was we kind of saw those shifts. We saw that there was the social media that you had to manage, but at the same time, we saw that listeners were starting to access the stations from their apps and from their website. And then we saw, Twitter pop up, and now we have Google Plus. And what we realized was that their listeners were being scattered across these various mediums, these various social platforms, and it's very difficult to stay on top of that. And so that's why we created the wall that Jim referred to, so that we could bring all that together. And then what we're able to do is turn that and allow the listeners themselves to actually experience that, interact with each other, as well as the station.
So, guys, in kind of closing, at this point in time, some people will say, well, it's going to be a tough time for people in media. It's going to be a tough time. Do you think it's a tough time? Or, Jim, do you think it's an exciting time for radio?
Well, I think anything that's tough is probably exciting. So, I think it's going to be both. I think it is a tough time, but just what's going to make it tough is if we don't, as radio stations and broadcasters, adopt the new technology and stay current with the times. I think that's what's going to make it tough. So it is exciting, and I guess it's up to us whether it's tough or not. If we just embrace this new technology, it's going to be exciting and something that we can tackle. But if we just kind of ignore this new technology, it's really going to be tough.
As we say, Ryan, I definitely see you chopping at the bit to jump on that as well. So go ahead. I'm anxious to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it, like Jim said, I think it all depends on how, as broadcasters, we embrace this. The thing about radio that's always been the case is that radio works in all situations. People listen to the radio when they're working, when they're, doing various things. Radio is kind of always there. And the key for radio is to continue to grow and to continue to embrace these various things and these various social networks and various technologies, so that they can stay current with their listeners who are also changing and moving forward. And I think that's the key.
Excellent stuff, guys. Got to tell you, it's an absolute pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Excellent stuff. For Jim Roberts and Ryan Burgoyne, I am Tyler Pyburn of the Pulse Network. This has been another excellent conversation about the great content shift leading up to the 2012 NAB show.